Hello, 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 Life 180 teens. Happy Juneteenth to those that celebrate Juneteenth. For those that don't celebrate Juneteenth, happy Monday. Just wanted to say something before I start the video. If you have not already, make sure that you guys join and be a part of the family so that you can be up to date in anything that we are doing or have already done. Also, make sure you turn on your post notification bell so that you can be notified whenever we post a new lesson, activity, event, whatever the case may be, anything that's posted on this channel. And without further ado, this week we did start talking about prayer. It's one thing that as our youth is growing in age, when it comes to our teenagers, some are getting ready to go into high school. They're going to be a freshman next year, and some of those that are in high school already are either getting ready to graduate or they're just getting older and going up in the ability to be able to do more things. They're able to now drive in some cases. They're able to now, stay out a little later. They're able to, go do different things on their own and not have to wait for permission in some cases. They're able to get jobs. They're able to, now get into relationships. They're able to now, really start getting a feel for what works for them, what doesn't, who they are and what they like, what they don't like, and what they want to do with their life and things of that nature. And I think it's really important to go ahead and give them that important part of being a believer, or being that important part of understanding parts to their faith that are really important, especially when they are figuring out what it is that they want to believe in and what religion that they want to choose, or whatever the case may be. We want them to be prepared for times where they will need help, and times where they may be going through things, and times where they need to talk to someone, and times where they may, be doing something that they're unsure of, or needing help in guidance of where to go, what to do, who to choose to be friends with or get in relationships with, or what decisions to make, or when they're doing things in alignment with what they're called to do and things of that nature. And so we first started talking about the fact that when it comes to prayer, a lot of people get super cringy when it comes to being asked to pray for somebody, or just in general, just to pray. And I don't want for those that are fairly young to get to a place where it's something that's scary or something that is uncomfortable, but I want it to be a norm for them, something that they're able to experience with comfortability, something that they can experience with without hesitation, or without restrictions in certain cases. And I know that a lot of times we feel like it has to be perfect. We feel like it has to be a certain length. We feel like we have to use certain words, or we feel like we have to, do it this way or do it that way. We have to do it with our eyes closed. We have to do it with our eyes open. We have to, do it on our knees. We have to do it in front of our bed. We have to do it in a quiet room. We have to do it, all of these things. And instead of just explaining the important parts to prayer, and then allowing people to choose, how that works for them, how that looks for them, and, if it works for them and if it doesn't work for them, but based off a level understanding of what it is that they're required when it comes to prayer. And so we first learned that it's simply a conversation. Whether it be, about your own current thing that you need help with, that you need guidance with, or if it be on behalf of somebody that doesn't believe, or somebody that needs help, that, haven't opened their mouth yet to say things to the person that created them. And that's really what it is. That first initial conversation, or that initial conversation to set the tone, to start the day, to end the day, to, prepare to do things, to finish doing things, or whatever the case may be. It's one of those things where, just like we have our routines for our day and how we get the day started, we have our routines for, you know, how we work out and things of that nature. It's one of those things where you have to put it into your routine of things to do for your day, but also the routine for things that you always make sure you want to do. And so when you have that conversation, you want to first start it off with, who you're speaking to. And if you're a person that believes in God, if you're a person that believes Jesus, you believe, you know, the universe or the stars or whatever, that's, who you're praying to, the person that you believe in, the person that you, without a shadow of a doubt, think that they're going to, meet this request. They're going to, acknowledge that request. They're going to acknowledge, this letter or this vent session or this conversation to them. And so, if, like I said, if that's what you believe, dear God, say dear God. It's like any other letter, you address who you're talking to. And so, we first start off with dear such and such. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be politically correct. At the end of the day, just say what's on your heart. And whether that be, a long letter or whether that be a short letter, both of them are acceptable. But you also want to keep in mind that when you are having this conversation or you're having this dialogue and you're sharing this letter with God, that, we close our eyes only to, in most cases, so that we can focus and we can get to a point of meditation. We can get to a point of um, humbleness, a point of, being one with, God, and having that conversation, or what, however you want to look at it. But we close our eyes simply to focus and not get distracted, but also to be, present in the moment and not present in what's going on around us and who's looking at us and what other people are saying and what other people are doing or what's on TV or, what's in the room or whatever the case may be and how we may look. We, simply, go to that place of, quietness. We go to that place of stillness. We go to that place of, you know, um, having a conversation with, somebody that's important, and we want to, share it, what it is that we're feeling, what we're thinking, what we need, what we, desire, the things that are on our minds and things of that nature. And when we do this, we also have to think about, just like as a doctor would need to know, descriptive words and things to be able to properly prescribe you whatever you need for, whatever it is that they're, doing on you, whether it be for something, that is major or minor. They need to know the details behind it. They need to know what hurts, how it hurts, what that makes you feel like, and, what you think about when that happens, or, what it is that you like about this and why you desire it, and if you desire it, and things of that nature. And at the end of the day, it's going to be one of those situations where you have to be honest. Because, yeah, we always say, God knows our heart, but at the end of the day, He still wants to hear from you as well. He wants you to be honest with not just Him, with yourself. Be honest to say something hurts. Be honest to say you're not okay. Be honest to say you need help. Be honest to say, you know, um, what, I really didn't like this, or I really like that, or I didn't really agree with this, or I did agree with that, or this is how things are going for me, or I don't understand, or I need help, or whatever the case may be. He wants to hear from you, opening your mouth. That's why you have a voice. That's why it's important, regardless of whether or not the doctors the doctor sees that your arm is swollen, or your eye is red, or whatever the case may be. They don't just automatically diagnose you. They run tests. They ask you questions. They do this, they do that. And we got to remember that God does the same thing. He's also a doctor. He's also, a healer to some. He's also a provider to some. He's also a protector to some. So if those are the things that we believe that he is for us, we have to give him the opportunity to do those things by sharing that that's what we need, sharing that that's who he is to us, sharing that that's what we believe he's going to do and he can do, sharing what it is that he said, sharing, with him our mind, will, and emotions, not on a sense of, hey, this is how I feel and you better like it or anything like that. Because at the end of the day, yes, he's a doctor, but at the end of the day, he doesn't get paid to do surgery. He doesn't get paid to, do this, do that, none of that. So when it comes down to it, he does what's best for that patient. Okay. Also, when it comes down to it, some people believe that if you do it the right way or the wrong way, like there is a right way or there is a wrong way. Honestly speaking, it doesn't matter if you're, on your knees with your eyes closed in front of the bed, or if you're in your car, pulled over somewhere in a parking lot or on the side of the road. It doesn't matter if, your eyes are open or if your eyes are closed. It doesn't matter if, you're in a quiet place or you're just in a place and you just got to get it done. Like, it does not matter. It's the fact that you're simply communicating with the person that can help you, the person that created you, the person that understands what it is you're going through, the person that understands that, you might not always agree with, how things are going. You might not, like that the fact that life is going to life sometimes, and it's not going to be, a field full of roses all the time. It's not going to be, happy. It's not going to always be, a place where, you're going to be excited to be. But he wants to still hear from you. And so instead of worrying about, whether it looks good or whether it sounds great or whether, you look crazy doing it, or whether, somebody says it's not long enough or whatever the case may be, start off with the conversation like you're having a conversation with anybody else. We can have a conversation with complete strangers, homeless people. We can have conversations with somebody that walks up to us in a store. We can have conversations with the cashiers, and we can have conversations with our teachers and our counselors. But sometimes those same people don't know us from a bag of chips or a hole in the wall, but at the end of the day, we can still open our mouth to speak to them. So how is it that we're not using the same tool to speak to the person that created us and the person that we believe created us? And so just as you're not cringy to talk to those people, you shouldn't be cringy to talk to the person that you believe is going to do these great things for you, but also the one that has done it before, or the one that, has the ability to, be the answer for all of these things that is going on in your life, or that's going on in the world, or going on in your family or your friends or your relationship, or whatever the case may be. And I think sometimes we focus on the how and not the why, or we focus on the why and not the how. And sometimes we get, distracted from just doing it at all. We get distracted from, taking, however long we need to take and just really just do it. We make excuses for why we can't do it. Oh, it's not long enough. It doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound like such and such. It's not going to sound like somebody else's prayer, because you guys might not be needing the same thing. You guys might not have done it the same amount of time. You guys might not understand it the same way. You guys might not have the same relationship with him the same way. He might not do the same things for you guys at the same time. So of course, the way that you speak might not be the same way somebody else speaks, but that doesn't mean that you can't speak at all. Just because you don't do it the same way somebody else does it doesn't mean you can't do it at all. Just because it's not, in the same routine and ritual as somebody else doesn't mean you can't have a prayer life. And again, with you guys going out into the world and being able to do more and being able to explore more, you will understand that there will come a time and place where those that used to protect you, those that used to provide for you, those that used to be that ear to listen and for you to vent to, the one that used to pick up that phone call, the one that used to, make sure everything happens by any means necessary, might not always be there like they used to be, because at the end of the day, now they have other things that they, have to get done. They have things going on in their own life, but not only that, you're getting older, so you shouldn't need them as much as you used to, because now you have the opportunity to not just ask them, not just seek them, not just call them, but you also have the ability to build a relationship with, the person that's going to be there even when everybody else is busy. Be there even, when everybody else, has a million and one things going on. Be there when, somebody else doesn't have the answer. Be there when, somebody else can't comfort you, somebody else can't provide you for you, and that's okay. And so regardless of who you call him and what you call him and what you think, he will do or won't do, at the end of the day, you'll have to understand whatever it is that you're having a conversation with him about. You have to first and foremost be aware that if you don't believe that he can do, whatever you're asking him for, or if you don't believe, whatever it is that you're saying to him, then it's really pointless. Because no matter whether he can do it or not can do it, whatever the case may be, if you don't believe it, then it's not going to happen. If you don't believe, the things that come out of your mouth, it's not that he doesn't believe it. It's just the fact that he's not someone that is so pushy to the point where just because he knows you're in dire need of something right now, that he's going to overstep you because of the fact that he knows you need it. Just like a doctor, if you don't okay them to do certain things, they're still not going to do it, even though they know that it's important for you to get it done. They're not going to do it anyway. Just like, when we're younger, we have to wait for our parents or our grandparents or whoever to sign for to approve of certain things. And so we don't have to think about that. Now, you have to think about the things that you're getting done. You have to think about, the things that you're asking for and the things that are happening in your life, as opposed to, when you were younger, when those things weren't as important or on the top of your list because you had other people that did those things for you. Now you're at a point where you have to rely on you to get some of those things done. You have to rely on your resources and your options and opportunities to get those things done. And what a great way to, you know, seek help, seek advice, seek wisdom, seek guidance, and all of the other things that we look to people for, than the one that is available around the clock, all day, every day, no matter what time, no matter, what day, no matter, how long it's been, he still is listening out for you. He still is ready and willing to do for you. But at the same time, sometimes we have to get out of our own way and say, maybe my prayers weren't answered because I wasn't praying long enough. Maybe my answers weren't answered because I didn't believe that they could be answered in the first place. I'm coming to him in disbelief already. I'm coming to him with doubt and fear and all of this other stuff already. So who am I to say that, this person that says I can do everything is going to do it if I don't believe that he can do it? Like that's like a slap in the face to him. You're coming to him asking for what you need. You're coming to him saying, what you need to say to get it off your chest or whatever the case may be. But it's one of those things where it's almost like if you ask a person for some money or ask a person for something, but say, hey, but you know what? I know you don't have it. Like, it's like, why'd you even ask me? You asked me for $1, but right when I was about to open my mouth and say I have it or I don't have it, you automatically made the decision that I didn't have it to begin with when you even asked me the question. So you didn't even give me the opportunity, And so a person that's on the receiving end of that will be like, dang, you didn't even let me, like, you didn't even give me a chance. You took that away from me from jump. You said I didn't have it, and you didn't know that even if I didn't have it, I can make a way to have it. Similar to God, like even if he can't give you exactly what you want right then and there because of whatever the circumstances you might be dealing with, because of whatever it is that is going on with you, and if he gave it to you right then, you might mess it up, you might fumble it, you might, you know, go into other things that you're not quite ready for, and he knows that. he might, set you in a position where you have the resources to do it later, or he might set you in a position where, other people can help you do that, or whatever the case may be. So before you think about the things that you're going to ask him for or seek him for or have a conversation with him about, or the people that you're going to have a conversation with him on behalf of, make sure that you actually believe that it's possible. Because if you don't believe it's possible, it's really pointless for you to seek the doctor. Really, truly. If you don't believe that the doctor is going to heal you, and you don't believe that he's going to give you or prescribe you what you need, why are you even having a conversation with him anyway? If you don't even think that he's going to do what he's qualified to do. So I mean, think about that when you say, this didn't happen, or this took forever to happen, or whatever the case may be. And sometimes think about, just being open and honest when you pray. Don't always think about what's the perfect way to say, or what's the nicest way to say it, or, what's politically or biblically correct when you pray. Just think about, what is it that I'm actually feeling? What is it that I'm thinking? What is it, and somebody asks, can you write down your prayers? Absolutely. But at some point, even though you've, addressed what it is that you want to say, or what it is that you're thinking, and that, you've written it down um, in ink form, now put it in verbal form. Now put it into words. Now actually speak those things. Because, yeah, he can very much, feel what it is that you're feeling, be in tune with what it is that you have going on. But at the end of the day, he wants you to be able to acknowledge it so that you can ask for help, so you can talk to him, So, that line of communication is open, but you have to be able to use it. You have to be willing to use it. And so, it's one of those things. If you do choose to write your prayers down, make sure that at some point you actually say those things out loud, so that not it's not so much so that, oh, God needs to hear me. It's one of those things that some people don't realize, that when you, and I've been asked this question before, when you pray, who do you think you're praying to? Who do you think you're talking to? Because you do know God isn't like physically there in the flesh, or, he's not, standing right in front of you. So, when you pray, who are you talking to? And it's one of those things where when you understand why you, confess from your mouth and received, in your heart, what it is that you believe is true, but also, when you choose to get baptized and you receive his spirit and you are made new, you're able to be in tune with his spirit that helps you, that will proceed on your behalf, meaning, if this is what you want to say, but you said it like this, he goes on your behalf and says, this is what she said, you know but it's because he rests, rules, and abides inside of you. And so that's why you have the conversation out loud. You're having the conversation because he's not necessarily listening in a sense, with ears, but it's in the sense of he hears you because you're coming from here, in a place that is connected to him. And so when you're connected to him, he hears you regardless of how you think he hears you. He feels you even when you don't feel like he feels you or understands you. It's because he lives within you. And so that's why we have the conversation out loud, because yes, technically you're speaking to yourself in a sense, which is why it's so weird to a lot of people, because it's like, okay, I'm talking, but I'm really having a conversation. Nobody's responding audibly to me. And so it's just like, what am I doing? So I get it. I understand. I've been there before. And like I said, I've been asked that question before. When you're talking, do you know who you're talking to? And if you do know who you're talking to, why don't they respond in a certain way? And it's because we try to simplify God to please each other, or please, ourselves, in a sense of feeling like we got it all figured out. But he's one of those people that's going to be complicated and complex, to all of us, because we think in such a way that's really minor compared to him. And so you will never quite be able to figure out how it works in a sense of figuring everything out to a T. So you just, allow him to guide you in doing whatever it is that you need to do when you're in prayer. And that makes you feel comfortable, but makes it authentic to you, but also making you feel like you're heard. Because honestly speaking, you just have to trust that he does hear you. You don't know. He don't be like, "Hey, I heard you." Like you just it's one of those things where it's based off faith. You don't see it, you just have to believe it. And because of the fact that you have chosen to believe it, then it is so. It's hard to explain to people, but that's just your life. Even when I don't see it, I believe it because I believe it with my heart, not with my eyes. So I don't have to physically see from my eyes God talking to me. I don't have to physically see with my eyes, God responding to me to know that He responds to me, to know that He's receiving my prayers, to know that He's receiving this letter that I'm giving to Him by way of, my voice and by way of, my time with Him. And so, we literally just sit and wait, for, life to unfold. And he speaks to us in various ways. And regardless of how we feel that he should answer things or he should do things, he does them in a way that we know it's him, but we know that he's been listening because he's done it time and time again. But he's done it in a way where it's like, it's not unbelievable, but it's not completely believable because it's not the way that we asked him and it's not the way that we predicted it. It's far past what we can ever think or ask. It's far past, what we could ever dream of him doing for us. We just barely scratch the surface when we ask him certain things or tell him certain things. We barely even could wrap our minds around what he's thinking about because he's already planned this life out for us. So we're asking for it at a time where we don't understand that God is really on our side and he really wants the best for us. But at the end of the day, he wants to communicate with us. And that doesn't mean that it has to be him verbally communicating with us for him to communicate with us. So when it comes down to it, if that's one of the things that scares you away from communicating with God because he doesn't verbally communicate back with you, understand that that's not something that was ever said that was going to happen for you. It's because if that was the case, then everybody would do it because they know for a fact, because they can see it, they can hear it, they can, experience it because, it's right there in front of their face. But when it's not that simple, when it's not that easy, are you going to do it? And again, it's one of those things where that's why you have to have faith to do it because you really have to trust that things are going to happen. You really have to trust that he is who he says he is. You're really going to have to trust that he hears you, that he, forgives you, that he does all these things for you. But also, when it comes down to it, we also want to make sure that we're appreciative for the things that he already has done for us. Sometimes we get so caught up into what can he do for me, what do I need now, that we forget to just be appreciative for things that he already has done. So a lot of people don't even come to him when things are good because they feel like they're only supposed to come to them when they need something. No, you should come to him all the time about everything. That's what he's there for. He's not there for the bad times. He's not there for the good times. He's there for both. He's there for all of the in between as well. So don't just have a conversation with him when you're going through things and the whole bottom falls out when you choose to have a conversation with him. Have a conversation when, you need nothing at all in your brain. When everything's going great, when you have so much peace in your life, when you have so much joy, when the relationships are going well, when your family is doing well, when your job is doing good, when schoolwork is great, when your career is going great, your car is running great. Have a conversation all the time, just as you would have conversations with your friends or your family members or the ones that you love. Why? Because it shows that you love them, that you want to tell them things that are going on in your life, that you want to tell them, how you feel, that you want to, vent to them, that you want to call them, that you want to share your appreciation for them and all of that stuff. So take God into consideration as well when you think about those things that we do for humans. Think about, you know, doing the same thing for God, telling Him thank you sometimes. Matter of fact, not even sometimes, all the time. As much as you ask, you need to be thanking. As much as you think, you can ask. Because at the end of the day, if I'm only coming to Him when I need something and never saying I'm appreciative for the last thing, do we really think we deserve it to get and we haven't given? We have to give on our behalf and say, hey, I give this to you and you're giving this to me. And so I'm giving you thanks and you're giving me blessings. I'm making requests, but I'm also sharing, my gratitude. Like we have to take those things into consideration. Um, but also think about how we end a regular letter. Sometimes we, say sincerely such and such, XOXO. In our case, when it comes to being a believer, we just simply say, in Jesus' name or in God's name or Holy Spirit or whatever the case may be that you believe in that you're addressing the letter to, and then amen. Amen seals the deal. Like literally. That's the signature at the end. And then don't be afraid to, if you have to, say the same prayer again. If and don't be afraid to pray for someone else. There's nothing wrong with praying for somebody else. Sometimes we have to not only pray about us and what we have going on in our family and our friends. Sometimes it's okay to just pray for somebody that you might not even know. Pray for a complete stranger. You don't have to physically hold their hand and make them bow their head to pray for them. You can, pray, people connected to me or people that I might connect with today or people that are going through certain things or people that might be in this room, people might be in this building, in this class, in this, car, in this on this highway, in this world. And that also includes your enemies. You don't have to, be super happy about what they did to you to say, I still hope that, things go as you plan it for their life. And you can leave it at that. You can also, for those that hurt you, you can pray that, eventually they learn to not hurt someone else in dealing with life. You pray for somebody that might be dealing with suicidal thoughts as you are or as you have. Or you pray for somebody that is hurting. You pray for somebody that, is homeless. You pray for somebody that doesn't have what you have. You pray, for your family members. You pray for your friends. You pray for those that are in relationships with you. You pray for, those that are, in your classes and things like that because you never know. There are some people who never speak on their own behalf, and that's okay because unless they believe it, most people won't do it. But at the same time, think about it. You're connected to, the source. So you can pray on their behalf until they get to a point where they're now connected and they can pray on their own behalf. And same thing when it comes to, your family members. They'll pray for you on your behalf. But it's nothing like knowing from the source, which is you, what's really going on. They can pray, things just, off of what they think you might be going through or what they think you might be needing or whatever the case may be. But it's nothing like having the actual patient talk to the doctor so that they can properly address the situation. They can properly assess the wound and they can properly do what they got to do. So, it's one of those things where it's not one of those things that has to be super weird. It's not one of those things that has to be um politically or biblically correct. It doesn't have to be a certain length. But prayer is a conversation that you have with God or the one that you believe in. If you believe in, this, that, and the third, then that's what you should be praying to. But understand if you don't believe in God, there's no reason to be upset when you're like, well, he's not answering me or I can't do this. Receive it in the heart and confess out of your mouth that he is who he says he is and really, walk life moving forward through faith, and make sure that you decide to take that step to get baptized so you can be connected with his spirit that will guide you in truth and all the other things that you are going through in life. And at the end of the day, find somebody who is connected to the source that will help you, walk you through the process of confessing, and walk you through the process of being baptized so that you can, you know, join and be a part of those that are connected that can now pray. Sometimes, he doesn't necessarily, like I said, he doesn't, it's not that he's ignoring you because you're, a different religion, or you don't believe, or whatever the case may be. It's not that he's ignoring you. It's the fact that he understands what it is that you're asking him for, but he wants to make sure that you understand what you're asking. He wants to make sure that you understand what it's going to entail when he gives you that. He wants to know that you are actually prepared for that. You're ready for that, because he would be a bad doctor if he gave you something that you weren't quite ready for. So keep that in mind. Um, and last thing I want to say about prayer is that, again, it doesn't matter where you are in life. It doesn't matter, whether it's you are going through a good time or a bad time. It doesn't matter, if you are in a quiet place or a loud place. It can still be done. It's easier in a quiet place, but I have been in situations where, people have been around me and I will still pray. I have been, eating, and I will, pray over my food because I don't know who touched my food. I don't know who made my food. I don't know, the things that they put in my food. So I'm praying over my food, and there's people around me. But does that mean I can't pray? No. They might look at me funny, but hey, I got my eyes closed. I'm not paying attention, and I'm not worried about what people are doing around me because I can't see them to begin with. So it doesn't even bother me. I'm still going to say what I need to say. I'm still going to do what I need to do. I'm still going to make sure I cover myself when I go out into this world. And for those that are wondering things that they can start with when it comes to prayer, start with the simple things that come to mind, like, when you first wake up, and, just simply giving him thanks for, watching you as you went through the night, making sure that, you still, made it to the day, or made it to the morning, or, nobody, because a lot of people feel like because they have all these other things for protection that they're fully protected, and that's not the case, because it doesn't matter how many rings you have on your door. It doesn't matter, what kind of alarm system you have in your house. It doesn't matter, what locks and bolts you have on your house. If a robber wants to break in, they're going to break in. So if these things can't protect me from these robbers, I want to talk to the person that can protect me from all things, not just if they decide to, do this or do that, or if this scares them off or not. Like, I want to do this in spite of whether this happens or not. I want to do this in spite of whether, whatever the case may be. So keep that in mind. Those that are going to ask for examples when it comes down to things that they can start with when they first begin their journey on praying and things of that nature. Think about the things that you need in life, just in general. Think about the things that you need physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually to grow. Think about the things that you need healing areas in your life where you need healing and breakthrough. Think about, and that includes, physically as well. If, something's hurting, something, you have sickness and disease, you have, pain and suffering in certain areas, or, you've been through things and you thought swiped it under a rug because you no longer think about it, but it's still, you're still dealing with the fallout from it now. Think about those things. Think about, the things that you would like to have. Think about, the careers and things that you want to do in life. Think about the people that you have around you. Think about those that may connect with you. Think about those that if you feel like you have everything you need, you feel like, there's nothing else that could be done. Think about those that are around you then. Think about those that might not speak certain things that are issues that you may just want to say something on their behalf. Think about, those that are uncovered out in this world. Think about those that are going through tough times. Think about those that do not yet know God. Think about those that do not yet know about prayer. Think about those that are praying but don't have the faith to believe that their prayers are going to come true. Think about those that, are with you on in sports and in classrooms and in college and car accidents and things of that nature. Think about those people. Think about helping make sure that they're covered, they're protected, they're provided for, that they're healed, they're getting breakthrough, that they're able to get peace of mind, that they're able to have joy, they're able to have love, that they're able to get connected to the same source that you're connected to. Think about ways that um you're not, the things that you're not quite good at right now, that, you're having a hard time with, things that don't come easy to you, things that you need to work on, things that, you might not even thought of yet that you just want to talk about with him. Things that hurt your feelings, things that make you feel great, things that you deal with that go against what he wants you to do or go against what you feel is right. Think about places you've been where it hasn't been somewhere you should have been, or somewhere where you felt comfortable or safe. Think about areas where you don't feel safe. Think about the things that he's done for you. Think about when it comes down to it, food that you eat, things that you drink, cars that you drive, or think about houses that you live in, or apartments, or whatever your living situation is. Think about the things about those situations that you could pray for. And again, it's just a conversation. It doesn't have to be weird. Just have a conversation, like you would with anybody else. Just keep in mind that unlike anybody else, you couldn't, even if you tried to, you couldn't lie to God. Like, because at the end of the day, he knows the truth. So he's not going to bless you or meet your needs based on where you pretend to be or what you pretend to feel, because he knows better. The people you might be able to get over on and saying that you're okay and that there's nothing wrong with you, you don't need help, or whatever the case might be, but he knows for a fact because he's with you daily. So of course he knows more than everybody else. Of course he knows you better than anybody else, because for one, he created you. For two, he's still with you and he sticks with you all of your days. And for three, he already wrote your story way before you decided to start reading it. So it's one of those things where, again, you really have to have faith, which means you have to trust with your heart and not your eyes. You have to trust, you know, um, the history of what was and what has happened before when it comes to dealing with the present and the future, if that makes any sense. So that's why, for those that are unaware of why we read our Bible, that's one of the reasons why we read our Bible. We don't read it for who said this or these funny or terrible stories in the Bible or nothing like that. We don't read it to find out what's there and what's not there. We don't figure out, why they didn't write it in this language and why they wrote it in that one. We don't do that to pick it apart to what we want to have in there, to select what should and should not go in there and how something should or should not have said, whatever the case may be. We read it for the history of those that did experience Jesus in the flesh, because we will never be able to experience that ever again. So for those that did experience Jesus, God's son in the flesh, the person that was closest to us in how he acted and how he looked and how he moved, how, things of regular human ways, you know, outside of the other things. But anyway, um, they were able to write a book on, what it is that they experience, and they're sharing that with you. So in order to know, in some cases, how to even pray is in there. They share details on, how they prayed back then, or how God says we're supposed to pray, or because at the end of the day they had his son walking with him, sharing wisdom from his own point of view. his own father. So, I think I would take advice from those that lived before me that, had one-on-one experience with the person that was connected so close to God that, if he said I need to do it this, and this way, I'm doing it, but again, it's still make sure it's still authentic for you. But at the same time, like I said, it's just one of those things where if it wasn't important, it wouldn't have never been documented. They could have chose not to document that. They could have, been like, you know what, we've experienced them. I don't care who experience or don't experience him later. This is my experience, and I don't care to tell nobody. But no, they cared to share it for us. They cared to give us a little insight on what they look like. They even gave us insight on God's son praying. So, it's one of those things where the more you learn, about those and how they did it before us and those that came before us, then it will help you in, you now trying to do things, you now trying to have faith, you now trying to, get connected with, God, and you to now figure out what's authentic for you because you learn from those that had this one-on-one experience. But not only that, you have learned from those that decided to give you a whole blueprint on it, and not to say you got to do it one way or the other, but they're just giving you like what it is, regardless of how you feel about it. So keep that in mind. And even in there, if you are a person that is like, well, this is what I want to do, understand that even in like the Bible apps, they'll give you like different prayers and the insight or the inspiration behind the prayers that you can pray every day or whatever the case may be. Or, you can Google it or YouTube it or whatever the case may be of things that other people pray, or watch other people pray, listen to other people pray, ask other people to pray so you can get inspiration from other people. But also, one thing that I will share with you guys that, well, a couple things that I will share with you guys that I pray personally is to make sure that I'm connected with the right people and the right people, places, and things. I don't know why I said people twice, but the right people, place, and things that will push me toward purpose, or um that will keep me in connection with God, and anything that is a distraction from that, anything that no longer serves a purpose in helping me do that, I would be, um, I would pray that He releases me from them. Not that He has to do anything, to harm those people, but if that's the end of the road for the two of us to be connected, then so be it, and then connect me with the new people that need to be around me to, help me get to the next destination. And also, sometimes I share with him that sometimes I don't know what I'm doing and I need help. Sometimes I share with him that, what, I've done some things that I'm not necessarily proud of, and I just hope that you forgive me for those things. But not only that, not the things that I know of, but the things that I don't know of. Because there's things that we do that sometimes we don't really know where to draw the line between whether it's a sin or it ain't a sin or whatever the case may be. And we like tiptoe on both sides of the fence, or we go across the line, or we touch the line of sin or whatever, and we're not sure, what to ask for forgiveness for. So I ask him to forgive me for both the things I know and the things that I don't know of. I pray for those that have hurt me. I pray for those that haven't hurt me yet. I pray for him to watch over me, cover me, and guide me throughout my day, throughout my night, to give me peace, joy, love that comes from him. I pray that what else do I pray? I pray that those that are connected to me, whatever I pray for myself, I always say, and for those that are connected to me as well. So I don't have to sit there and go down a list of people, of names, or whatever the case may be, or think about family members or friends that might need this, or strangers that might need this. I just like, go ahead and cover it all by saying everybody connected to me. I also pray, for those that I teach. I pray for those that you know, those that are in same buildings with me, same, on the road with me. I pray, for those that are driving beside me. I pray for, the fact that my car does what it's supposed to do while I'm in it. I pray that if I'm sleepy, that you help me stay awake while I'm still doing this thing. Or, I pray that when it comes to relationships, that you help me make sure that I'm with the right person at the right time. And if it's not, that you help me figure out how to disconnect from that person. Or if I have um, had an issue with a family member, a friend, or whoever the case may be, if you can help me figure out, you know, the if you can lead me in spirit in handling this situation, or saying certain things to certain people, or lead me in all that I do today, or all that I know today, or all you know that I received today. Sometimes I pray, I thank Him for all that I am and all that I have right now. I thank Him for watching over me when I slept. I thank Him for the family and friends that I have right now. I thank Him for those that have dismissed and those that have now been able to connect with me. I thank Him for those that are following me on social media. I thank Him for those that are, connecting with me at church. I thank Him for those that are my church family. I thank Him for so many things on top of just asking Him for a bunch of stuff. And sometimes I even, say, I hope that um, I'll sit there and pray that His will and His way be done today. I don't ever say my will and my way. I always say His way and His will. And if I'm outside of that, realign me with it, and that every day I pray that His Spirit rests, rules, and abides in my life. And anything that has taken that place, pray that it is released and removed. I pray for strength where I am weak. I pray for Him to empty all of me out so that He can, um, he can replace that with all of him. I pray, to release all of the feelings, the emotions, the thoughts, the whatever connected to that day so that he can replace that, um so that I have room to experience the next day or experience something else or whatever the case may be. When I'm in situations where I'm not, understanding what he's trying to say, what he's trying to do, I pray about that. I ask him, can you reveal yourself to me? Or, if I'm a person that is a dreamer, which I am, and I've stopped dreaming. I pray that, I continue to dream if something has happened where it has caused me to stop, or if I've done something that has caused it to stop. I pray for him to open my supernatural eyes and ears so that I can see and hear, what he's trying to get to me supernaturally. So many different things. I don't want to go down like to make you feel like you have to say and do everything that I say and do. And for those that are gonna ask, um, is there like a certain place that I go to pray? Is there a certain time of day? Is there, a certain posture that I no, not really. I try to pray throughout the day, so I try to pray at the top of my day. I try to pray at night. I try to pray over my food, and I try to pray in the middle of my day. And then I pray when, stuff starts happening as well. So that's quite a bit out the day. But if none else nothing else, that's the word. I definitely want to pray at the start of my day to get my day started, just like I would do anything else in my routine to get the day started. I also want to pray at night because I never know what it is, that might be preventing me from being able to receive what's going to happen in the next day, or I never know what I might need to release so that I can actually, fully be able to do tomorrow, or whatever it is that I might be going through that I might have made linger, or that has delayed or detoured me from what's next, or whatever the case may be. Um, so those are some tips and tricks. Also, do I get on my knees and pray in front of my bed? No, I do for the most part close my eyes in most cases. Sometimes there are times where I pray with my eyes open, but is there really a difference to me when I pray? Do I feel a difference whether I have my eyes closed or when I have my eyes open? I will say I can focus better and I can actually do it better with my eyes closed because I'm not paying attention to everything that's going on around me, and I don't get sidetracked. But when I close my eyes, I can definitely um, go there like I need to go there. But if there's situations where I can't close my eyes, I don't neglect still praying because I can't close my eyes right now because I'm driving or whatever the case may be. I'll still pray. Whatever. Gotta do what I gotta do. Okay? Me opening my eyes or closing my eyes is not gonna stop my communication. Okay? Because I might need it. Okay? Um, what else? Last thing, um, practice makes perfect. Nothing's perfect, however, because you never stop practicing, because you never stop trying, you never stop learning and growing. But the more you do it, the more comfortable you'll get with it, the easier it will become. But do understand that the more you do it, the better. Because you want to talk to him as much as possible. If he's the source of all things, then you need to talk to the source when it comes to, all things that he's created. If he's created the animals, the people, the plants, the moon, the stars, the world and the atmosphere we live in, why not talk to him about all these things? Because he has the ability to, do what he got to do with that stuff. Now, the stuff that we created, that's something else that's other people can have conversation about, but at the end of the day, I care about what God created it, and at the end of the day, if he created it, then he has the ability to do something with it. And at the end of the day, I need to talk to the manufacturer about the things that has come through his line. Okay? So think about that when you think about prayer. Like, you're going to the manufacturer, you're going to the doctor, you're going to the surgeon, you're going to whoever he is to you. Okay? And there is no right or wrong answer when it comes to who you're dedicating your letter to. Like I said, whoever you want to address it to, because at the end of the day, that's who you're talking to. So you do got to address it to somebody. So be clear on who you're addressing it to. And then when you're addressing it to that person, be clear that they can do it. Otherwise, if you're not clear on that, then you might need to hold off on that. Because even if he heard you, or even if you're doing it right, you might not really see much of a change because you don't even believe that there is a change to begin with. So even if he did it, you wouldn't even realize it because you're not looking for that, because you're not thinking about that, because you don't even believe that. So whether he did it or not, you wouldn't even realize it. So it's one of those things where it takes time, but you also have to have a belief system. Okay, you do. Like, I can't lie to you and tell you that if you're atheist and you don't believe in God, that if you pray to God, that he's going to do everything. Probably not, because you don't even believe it to begin with. Not saying there's anything wrong with you praying. I'm just saying that the way that you would be more effective is if you actually believe it. And I'm not saying that it's going to happen. I mean actually believing that it's happening, not just saying it out of your mouth, because he knows. You can't pull one over on him. He already knows that. So keep that in mind if you're going to be a person that prays. But definitely put that in your list of to-dos when it comes to your day-to-day routines, and also when it comes down to your food, because nowadays all types of stuff is happening to our food. All types of stuff is happening to our family, our friends, our cars, our homes, our jobs, our schools, our teachers, our counselors, our doctors, and those type people. So don't ever put it past anybody that they need help or that prayer is an option, because it is. So keep that in mind. Hopefully, this is helpful to somebody out there. Hopefully, this is a start in somebody's prayer journal or prayer life or journey or whatever you're going to get started with this information. If you're a person that feels like this information was not for you, share it with somebody that it might be for. Okay, if you're a person that says, I'm not a believer, I don't believe in all that stuff, I don't believe in that person, I don't believe in this, I don't believe in that, cool. Send it to somebody that does. And if you don't know nobody that does, just share it randomly on your social media. What can it hurt? Okay. Also, like this up so that I can get to the people that I need to get to. And also, comment below um, what it is that you need prayer for so that we can begin to pray for some of those that are subscribed to us and to the family. But also, just in the event that somebody else that is out there that is watching, that is reading comments, might want to pray for you, or might be looking for some more people to pray for or pray with. If you need somebody to pray with, drop that down in the comments. And last but not least, worry about nothing and pray about everything. Not saying that worry is never going to come up. Doubt, fear, shame, defeat, all of that stuff is never going to come up. You're human. You have emotions. They're going to come up at some point. But at the end of the day, instead of focusing all your time, energy, and effort on worrying about what is, what ain't, what's going to work, what ain't going to work, have prayer that it is. Have prayer that this is, so it is. So, like, really lean toward prayer more than you lean toward thinking about all the endless what ifs. Because okay, you think about what if and what ain't, like what is that going to change the situation? Nothing. You're just doing a bunch of talking. So if you're going to do all that talking, you might as well talk to somebody that can get do something about it, because you talking to you ain't gonna get nothing done. So, love you guys. There's nothing you can do about it, as we say over here. And at the end of the day, I hope that you guys can get something from this video. Love you. Bye.